Okay. Cool. So, a very good evening to everybody. I hope that everybody's well. I hope they've had a great start to the week. You will notice that I've put everybody on mute just so I can facilitate the session. Obviously, we try and use these sessions for further recording, so it makes more sense if we can just get through the session, launch the information, and then, of course, we can have some questions and answers later. I want to encourage everybody to please use the chat box for any comments, any feedback, any questions. If you need clarity on something that I'm presenting about, I really would love these sessions to be as interactive as possible. You've dedicated your time to the session, so why not give your feedback as well? Tonight's session, I'm really excited about because it speaks into something that we in a business, well, basically, actually, the truth is, in any business, need to be focused when it comes to sales. And sales is the name of the game, but there's many, many different touch points when it comes to sales. And I think if you understand the core value of what it means to be in sales and you practice those tools, sales can be a very lucrative and very fun business. But it's often when we don't know where to put our energy and our efforts that we get a little bit stuck on what we need to do. So last week I did launch part one of the series, which was network. I opened it up to everybody, the consultants, the elite entrepreneurs, the team leaders. We had some great feedback, and I hope you guys enjoyed the session. But I thought to fast track you as the team leaders in the sales environment, because the reality is your team are selling at the capacity that you are at. And our business model never ever supported us in sitting back and watching our teams do. It really, really relied on us knowing the walk and the talk of what a sales business was and basically just grooming and showing people in every day how to walk and talk the sales business. And I want to take us back to some of those touch points. I want to incorporate some of the things that I've learned recently by partnering up with another training facilitation company. So I'll share you a little bit about that as well. But the more I get into sales, it is irrespective of which company it is, the simpler I see the strategy and the process. What becomes more difficult is actually the discipline and the consistency that we need to apply. So I know that is my swear word and I say it all the time, but that's just the reality of where it is. And so tonight, as I go through the session, I want you to really take some time to obviously make some notes. I'm big on taking notes and getting the most value out of the session, but also asking yourself if you've ever experienced what I'm talking about in your own personal capacity, whether that be in your business or maybe when you were buying something from somebody else, and really reflect on what I'm talking about when I say things like the experience and understanding how to build the core culture of sales. So if you checked the WhatsApp group before we started the session, I sent you another one of my favorite quotes out of one of my business books, and it says, "Value does not exist. It's a perception we reach with expectations we meet." So everybody has a different understanding of what value is. Value for some people will be a price. Value for some people will be the quality of something. And the reality is, if you position your business as a salesperson with the correct value for the audience that you are talking to, your sales are almost guaranteed because everybody is looking to add value into their life. And if your sales, let's just call it what it is, if your sales pitch is in alignment with the person that you're speaking to, it's not so much about selling, it's actually about building that relationship. So let's dive into the session. Tonight, we're going to focus on exactly what I meant, adding value and reaching expectations. So the session is called Turning Conversations into Conversions. And the reason, again, I want to fast track you on this is if you are struggling to get to your target, if your team is slowing down on sales, it's because they are lacking the basic principle of the how to sell. And sometimes we take for granted what we know, especially for some of us that have been in this business for a long time, or in fact, any sales industry. We forget that the basics are what the bread and butter is made of. And that's what we need to go back to. So let's focus on product. And I want to reframe your mind. Think about where we are now. We are at the point where we are constantly waiting for promotions to come from a WhatsApp number. And they are set up images for us and set up scripts for us. And while they work well, none of that tells a story about the business. None of that goes back to the core value of what makes this business special to us. Think about, for those of you who were able to attend the Honey Heart event, the feeling that you had in being part of the community, seeing other people achieve certain accolades, regardless of their circumstances, regardless of their territories, those feelings and those emotions and those energy exchanges, that's what sales is actually about. And that's why it can never be about pushing a product, because a product isn't an energy exchange. It's a product. It's an item that you sell. It's the behavior and the sets of tools that you incorporate into your business that serve that energy when it comes to sales. And that's why, off of the back of chatting about network last week, I wanted to dive into how, now that you've connected with your network, how do you go out and turn those conversations into actual sales within your business? Now, again, I will always confess at the beginning of a session, I don't have a golden wand. I'm not necessarily going to teach you anything brand new that you haven't already learned along your journey. But I am going to take you back to some things I bet you are not incorporating in your business at the moment. Some things that you are probably damn good at, and they were probably the reason you became so successful in this business. And sometimes we need to go back to those basics and see, how does modern technology support this, and how do I create it on a bigger scale? And what can I just do more willing in my business, more servant leadership in my business to really build on the network that I have? So let's think about this. The worst salesperson in the world is the person that's trying to convince you to buy. And we all know this. It's those poor people that have to phone you and offer you insurance and funeral cover. I get about 8 calls a day. And they're so desperate to make the sale that they are at the point where they're actually convincing you. And we know how it goes. Anybody convinced against their will is of the same opinion. If my mind was made up before, the more you convince me, you're actually just convincing me to stay stuck with my idea of no. And I think we've all been on the receiving end of a call like that. When we've said no 10,000 times, we can't say it any nicer and we get so frustrated. Unfortunately, those sorts of experiences become our actual reality when it comes to the business. And when our reality is that, that's what we speak about, that's what we reference the brand as, that's how people know us. And so when we go back to the simple idea of creating an experience, we need to understand what is the most important thing about that. Sales is not convincing. It's not pleading poverty. It's not asking people because you have a target and you need to make earnings. And yes, while there is always a great way to ask for help, leaders lead from the front. Leaders show people that they're showing up for their businesses and they are determined to make their businesses work. So think about every transaction that you have when it comes to a sales is the last thing is what you do is position the product. If you have positioned your business, your value and who you are and what you offer in a perfect opportunity in your first conversation, and simply by maybe following a process, it's never about the details of the product that you sold them. It's always going to be about how you made them feel. It's always going to be about how you leave people. And again, I go back to you, and I proved it to this without realizing that this was going to be the session. I proved it to you when I said to you, I spoke to a lady in a coffee shop and I offered her an opportunity. And she was that one person that was like, no one ever offers me an opportunity. All I do is please and thank you. I hardly ever get tips. Why would this be my option now? And so before I've even asked her, does she want to sell? Does she like fashion? She's seen something bigger in herself. And that's what we're actually here to do, is we're here to inspire other people to take action on ideas that we have. We are the business influencers in our business. And that's the touch point that we've forgotten. We've forgotten how to create amazing experiences that leave people wanting to be part of the business for a vision and an idea that they have, not wanting to be in our teams because they liked one handbag. Now we're forcing them to sell because we don't have recruits and we need to make sales. What experience are you creating in your day-to-day connections when it comes to your recruitment and when it comes to your sales? And I'm telling you now, the way in which you handle the sales of your sales consultants currently is how big or small that they will play their sales game. Everybody wants to make a sale. Everybody has a need for earning. But if we go back to the basics and you understand about experience is attached to emotion, and emotion is the energy of currency, we need to make sure we're creating an experience when it gets to sales on making sure people come back, making sure they feel understood, and making sure that before you've even offered them anything, they're already in it. They want to be associated with you or your brand or the business. There's something they walk away with because of your excitement and because of how you make them feel. So there's another book that I would love to encourage everybody to get your hands on if you are somebody who enjoys your business books like I do. And I spoke to you at the beginning and I said there's touch points when it comes to sales. And this book is called Unreasonable Hospitality. And I came across it. So as I mentioned, I have started doing some consultancy work with a training facilitation company, but on a corporate scale, like you don't even want to know, Bidvest, Standard Bank, those kind of people. And they've got pre-prescribed products. And going through some of the content training and understanding what it is that gets to the core of sales, it's just exactly this. It's the same things we always used to do. And when I looked at this book, it frames it very nicely. And it's three things. So unreasonable hospitality in essence or in its basic form just means going out of your way. And I want to ask us, when last did we go out of our way? We've become, and I speak on behalf of myself, so I'm not accusing anyone. I'm talking, this is like my mirror. So please, if you resonate with me, let me know, because I can't be the only one who is guilty. I'm pretty sure I'm not. But unreasonable hospitality and going out of your way, when last did we go out of our way for our teams, for our people? You know, I remember in the good old days of packing your parcels and sending them out, we would include a chocky, we would include an Easter thing. And while I know that a lot of that goes to budgetary constraints, why can't we fill that with other things? Why can't we do little things that keep people being reminded that they are valued in this team? Because where there was high value of people, there was also great sales results. And sometimes we need to do a little bit more than just recognize somebody on a social media platform. Sometimes we need to send them a little gift. Sometimes we need to take them for a coffee. If we want to see the value in our people, we need to add the value. And that's what the concept of the book is about. So the three most important touch points that they cover is, number one is personalization at scale. If you want to build lasting relationships and people that you can sell to more frequently on a regular basis, it's time to start really getting to know the people that we're selling to. If you want to be seen as someone who offers a product that adds value, what value are you adding to that person's life? How much do you know about them? If you contact them, are you simply just spamming them with with the everyday, how do I look? I was going to say, how do I look? With the everyday look of promotions? Are you sending them something else? Is it only just product, collagen on special order now? Or are you personalizing something? Are you reaching out and saying, hey, Taryn, long time no chat. Trust you're still enjoying your last pair of honey shoes that you've got. What do you know about that person that you can personalize? Because I know for a fact, every single one of us on this call have had some sort of personal experience when it comes to service delivery. And it's always an underlying factor of why we support something again. So if you're able to personalize something, you're able to build trust. Where you're able to build trust, you become the preferred partner for people. You become the preferred gift place for people. So it's always about building the trust before selling the opportunity. Don't go and tell them that you can do vouchers and you can do their Christmas gifts and you can, who are you? You're one of a million people. Personalize what you're doing, whether it's for a new recruit. When I talk to the waitress in the coffee shop, I make sure I know her name. I make sure I know how to pronounce her name. I don't just say, hey, sorry, what's your name? And then it's impersonal. I make sure that by the end, I've known her name, we've had a little bit of a conversation, and I've built that trust. It's incredible how quickly you can build trust with a stranger when it's done right from the beginning. The second touch point is small, thoughtful gestures. And this will go a long way when it comes to your personal clients. And that's one thing we all need to get back into, is servicing our personal clients. We've dropped the ball on some of our people. Maybe they lost interest. Maybe they also battled through the transitions that were, maybe they had some other options. But if we don't spread the news that we're still in business, and if we don't get those people back, we're not going to be able to get to where we need to be. So small, thoughtful gestures are thank you notes, handwritten somethings. How do you deliver your package to your clients? What is the experience they get? Again, ask yourself, when you order something of high value to you and you receive it, there's a whole concept on social media called unboxing, because that's the whole psychology around sales, is when I get it, what is this experience going to feel like? Is there tissue paper? Is there, is it just given to me with the invoice and excuse me, the invoice is taken out? We got to think about those things. And again, it's not to say that there needs to be more cost in your delivery. We're very creative and we always have been. It's about making sure that there are thoughtful gestures in the way that we do things. Even sometimes it's as simple as a thank you banner for someone, a personal client placing an order. Don't move too fast to go back to small, thoughtful gestures. They are the big things when it comes to people. If you do that for enough people, your referrals are instantly guaranteed. And then the last one is radical reliability. You have to honor your clients and you have to service your clients to the best of your ability. Not only are you setting the standard for your consultants, but you're also showing your clients what they can expect of your business. So again, if we are in the business where we duplicate our numbers and that's where our power lies, what's going to be important is that every experience that we have, or every experience that we create in such a way that makes it natural for the person who's had that experience to go and share that with other people as well. So radical reliability means when the client orders, you place the order on time. The client gets it at the price that was guaranteed. If you say you're going to deliver on Friday, it gets delivered on Friday. If you say you're going to let them know when the next special is, you'll let them know when the next special is. Sorry, I've got people in my house that forget I work in the evening. Radical, radical reliability simply means honoring what you say you are going to do. And sometimes we let that slip. I know for myself with a calendar like I have now, I don't have the time to operate my business like I used to on a small scale where I could personally touch in with every consultant and I could spend a lot of time, even not necessarily talking about the business, but talking about things that made them feel like they were included. Radical reliability just means committing to what you said you were going to do. So if there's 3 touch points that you can take from unreasonable hospitality, go back to those. It's all about the experience that we are creating. So you have to ask yourself why experiences sell better than pitches. And the first one I've already covered is that trust over transaction. Meaningful interaction will always start with trust. We are one of many options, and we don't necessarily offer all the greatest things when like credit and all of those things. Those are limiting barriers that some people have in their mindsets. And the only way to overcome those barriers is to build trust. You've got to know your business, you've got to know what it's built on, and you've got to know what we offer. Remember the days when you first started selling? What was our biggest thing? We always sold the 28-day guarantee. I could recite the back of that 28-day guarantee card probably better than I could remember my bank PIN, because it was a feature that we offered in terms of our products. It was something that we guaranteed that if you were not happy, we could resolve X, Y, and Z. So we've forgotten the little touch points of sales. Another thing, I remember selling so many pairs of earrings, and I actually just worked it out a little bit earlier. I don't think it was the earrings that sold it. I think it was the fact that I attached a jewelry cleaner to every pair of earrings. So I would always sell the value of having a jewelry cleaner with your earrings and why you should keep your earrings separate in your jewelry box and how to make sure they last longer. And if you've got itchy, irritated ears, Honey's earrings are perfect for that. And we've got extra care so that you don't have that. So while I know some of the products have changed and we don't always necessarily have all of the same stuff, what are the touch points for the current products that we do have that can help you build trust so that by the time you do get to talking about the product, you also have key understanding in the value you are offering your person when you're selling to them. Experience creates a memory anchor. So when you go back to my other hat that I wear, when we talk about neurolinguistics and actually understanding how the brain processes information, sales is psychological. And sales, that's why some people are brilliant at it because they're actually very good with people and they know how to read people. And some people are just good at it because they can analyze data and they can analyze things. So they operate in a certain behavior when they need to. Memory anchors are emotional driving decisions. I always say to somebody, if you want to feel better, especially as a woman, if you're having a really crappy time and you want to feel better, just order yourself a new pair of shoes from Honey. Like, it's a real thing. It's like therapy in a box, and I'm not convincing anybody because I pay for them myself. So it's not like I'm telling anybody to do it. But retail therapy is exactly that. It's a memory anchor. Some people prefer to go for runs. It's a memory anchor. Some people enjoy their wine. It's a memory anchor. So the memories and the emotional drivers that you are implementing are all from experiences. And that's why things like storytelling are really important in sales as well. And we'll get to that a little bit later. Experience also is easily created by differentiation. In a world where there is so many of the same thing and so many of the same products, the style, people are frustrated by certain service delivery issues in whatever they're ordering or whatever they're doing, ask yourself how you can show up and be different. You have a different product, you have a different purpose behind your product. Now, how are you going to take what you know and put that forward as the thing that you are selling? Again, before you are selling anything, you are selling an experience and you are selling the awareness of the business so that you can build that trust and get that conversation to a conversion. What experience can you tell someone, share someone, or create for someone that can differentiate you from somebody else? And then experience sells better because everybody loves to chat about a great experience. Actually, the reality is that everybody likes to chat about their experiences in general. So I also know that people love to chat about bad experiences. We all do it. If you've gone to a restaurant and the food wasn't to standard, what's the first thing you tell your friends is, oh, don't try that one, it's not great. But the same goes for a good experience. You always want to be the first name that people think of when they come across something in your industry. And I think it's been a good lesson to learn, especially in opening up my own company and reaching out back to people, is realizing where you've built relationships that will last forever because of the experiences you created. And from those experiences, years later, your referrals can still flow. And that's why I always say, don't underestimate the value of the business that you are creating. Don't look at it as a small costume jewelry business. Look at it as something that has the potential to build on whatever you create in the future. Whether that is this business, whether it's many other businesses, referrals are the most underestimated, powerful tool when it comes to any form of business, because where you build long-lasting and trusted relationships, they will carry you years later without you even realizing the connection. So you're not just there to sell a product, you're there to sell a moment that people want to repeat. And if you can incorporate that in your sales interactions and then teach your consultants how to do it simply by doing it, that's how you duplicate your sales strategy. First, you have to do it, then you have to record it, then you have to share it. Again, I go back to, do you remember how many recruitment campaigns and the business opportunity meetings, what did we call those? It was the road shows. I think there was a period of 6 months where we traveled from east to west, north to south. Gary and I even did Mozambique and Namibia and Swaziland and that's what it took to get out there and to be the brand, was to be in front of the people. It was to get out there because we were creating community and we were creating experiences way before we were selling products. And the same has to be done for you and your team. Start off with your community, start off with your surrounding areas and build as you go, but start somewhere and start creating those experiences of how to get there. So now you're probably wondering, okay, cool, I heard what you say, I need to create experiences. Now, how do I create meaningful experiences? Well, the first one is to make it personal. Any experience you do, whether it is a sale, whether it's a simple conversation that you want to lead someone back to your business, is to always make it personal. There's huge value in knowing and remembering someone's name. And there's always huge value in remembering a small detail about people. In fact, I know a lot of people that's how they remember people. They'll say, okay, Taryn Tool, okay, that's Taryn. One little thing, and try and practice it the more you come across new people, is when you meet a person, either look at the color of their eyes, look at their smile, look at something that you can be genuine about when creating an experience. And then, of course, once you know them a little bit more, that helps you to then offer them some of your products. For example, if you give somebody a hug and they're wearing Divine perfume, say to them, your fragrance is amazing. If you enjoy it and it's nice, there's nothing wrong with creating a personal experience for that person to build onto that relationship. Make it memorable. So everything, again, if you talk about your brain, if you talk about the psychology behind sales, it's all got to do with your 5 senses as well. So create a sensory element. If you compliment somebody on their watch, you know, it's always about, oh, your watch is nice. You always touch your watch. They've not seen salespeople when they always do the action that's attached to it, because we're visual creatures. So when you create a sensory element around it, you're allowing people to see and feel and touch. That's exactly why client days always used to work, because the minute a woman got to try that necklace on, it was no longer about, is it going to be long enough? Is it going to be short enough? She put it on, it suited her perfectly, and that's when she took it. That's how you make a memorable experience. And you've got to figure out in your business, whether you do predominantly virtual or whether you do face-to-face, is how you can create those memorable experiences. The easiest way to create memorable experiences and meaningful conversations is to share a relatable story. And one thing I know about Honeys is we've got more than enough stories to tell when it comes to our business. Some of them are filled with laughter, some of them are filled with meaning, some of them are filled with lessons. But that's how we built our business, was we were proud of it. It was a journey for us, and we need to go back and share some of that journey as well. And then again, meaningful means making that extra small gesture that you can. Unreasonable. Oh my gosh, sorry, I'm going to sneeze. Sorry. Unreasonable hospitality. It's about surprising them with something they weren't expecting. There is so much value in giving somebody something, whether it is handwritten, whether it is costly, whether it's not costly, even if it's just a simple thank you at the end of something. Those little things really do go a long, long way. And always, when you are having a meaningful experience, always make it about the other person. We talk about discovery questions. And so example in this one would be what's most important to you in your skincare? So what's most important to you in your accessories? What's an item you will never leave your house without? What's the first thing you put on? Is it your shoes? Is it your handbag? Discovery questions are open-ended questions where they help you create a conversation. And the more you focus on making it about the other person, the less you actually have to think, because all you have to think about is to ask questions and remember what the answers are. Make sure that you're always responding with confirmation that you know what they're saying, so that they don't feel like they're just answering questions and you're like, okay, Taryn said ask questions, now I'm just ask the next question, even though I didn't hear the answer to the first question. Make it meaningful and make sure that you're engaging when you're asking these questions. Again, these are just tools and tips and tricks that I know a lot of us know, but we don't practice them in our day-to-day because we're so busy, because we've got so many things to do, because we've got so many tabs open and things to fulfill. Sometimes it's better to slow down in order to speed up. So what practical strategies can you use right now when we talk about building onto our sales? The first one I want to say is host experience sessions. Experience sessions, client days, Wellness Wednesdays, I don't really mind what you call them, but the whole idea is that you're getting your products in front of your people. If you think the day of client days in our business is dead, it is not. There is just a completely different version of it. And I think we need to wrap our heads around about what experience session we can create where our product is the focus, but we build the community and the culture. That was what built the business. It wasn't just about the products. It was about having opportunities where people could come and see, they could come and connect, and they could come and build community. And again, I spoke about this in last week's session on network. People value those connections because they don't only give them immediate business, but it gives people opportunity to meet friends, to meet their next business people, to meet a rental agent, to meet this. It's networking opportunities. And if you are in the right network, you will always have people that support those events. So it's about going back to who used to attend my events and who can I call on again. We've stopped being the initiators and we're waiting for people to come to us. It's never going to work. Just like catalogs will never die in this business, a version of client days will never die either. Unless we go completely online, which will never happen, we need to be out there with our products in front of our people, but we need to change the way that we are doing. Either we need to do some product lessons, either we need to do videos of our product lessons, but we need to go back into those small touch points that gave people the tools and the confidence to go out there and sell. It's got to be vibey. We've got to have energy. You cannot stand in front of people and talk about your products and your business if you want to inspire. We're competing for people's time. Although we don't have a direct competitor in the Direct Selling Association, retail will be a competitor for us because we want to gather, let me try that again. We want to gather our clients' spend before they spend anywhere else. And the only way to do that in this day and age with so much access to so many things is to start creating experience sessions. The next one, oh my soul, that went one too far, sorry. The next one is customer journey map. Sometimes I know I do this. This is probably one of my worst traits is because my phone is so busy and because I'm on 10,229 WhatsApp groups, I sometimes don't do the follow-up. So it's a big thing to talk about Fortune is in the follow-up, but that's just exactly what it is. That one customer that's asked for a catalog and you've sent it and you have not followed up, it's your fault that the sale has not come through. Any client who says, I'll come back to you and actually comes back to you is a unicorn. They are few and far between. They don't come back to you because it's not their job to come back to you. A salesperson's job is always in the follow-up. It's always in double checking, do you need anything? It's always in reframing it and saying, oh, I know I sent you this PDF, but actually we're now on a 30% off a door. So I'd want you to have this current one. But what we do is we send it and we don't get a reply. And then we sit with our hands crossed and we say, you know, I reach out to these people all the time and they don't respond. I will tell you for free, I'm a person who only responds after the 6th or 7th time because I actually just can't keep up with my phone. And it doesn't mean I don't want the item. It doesn't mean I can't pay for the item. I just sometimes just don't get to it. So the person who fights for my sale really, really deserves it because honestly, they put in a good amount of effort in following up on the things that I need to get. And sometimes that's just what it takes. But once you've done that with the customer and once you've built that reputation and that trust, you know that that person is good for the sale. And that's what grows your network. That's what grows your sales as well. When you do a customer journey map and you map out how many times you've contacted them, what you've contacted them about, and I want to chat to you about that straight afterwards, and what experience you are creating for them, you can quickly see how your sales map is looking. Any sales business has a sales funnel, whether you know it or not. And that sales funnel always starts with your prospects. So who am I going to approach? What problem am I going to solve for them? What products am I going to sell to them? What is the revenue that I'm going to generate once the sale goes through? And that's what a customer journey map helps you with is, okay, if I've spoken to this person and I've had nothing, is that a follow-up? Is that a follow-up? Is it a follow-up? How many times am I going to follow up till I close the deal? We need to work like salespeople. That's how salespeople work. And although in the past, sales did come a lot easier, we're in a new generation where we're competing for people's time and for our price points, and we need to be in the faces of the people we want to convert. Every step you take in your customer journey map should be intentional and personal. So map yourself a journey. Look at yourself, look at the ideal situation of someone saying to you, I got your details off from head office, and I want to join your team. What does that journey look like? How can you duplicate that journey? Does the same experience apply to the person who joins your business today and the person who joins your business next week? Same thing for a customer. Do you have a prescribed message that says, thank you so much for getting in touch. I'd love to answer any of your questions. This is what you need to know about our 28-day guarantee. This is what you need to know about this. What is the initial sales hook you are creating with that first interaction? Because if all you do is forward the PDF on, 9 times out of 10, she's not going to open it. And 1 times out of 10, if she does open it, she's going to scroll through so many things. Someone will have phoned her, something will have happened, and she's going to forget what she was doing. Unless she is that 1% of clients that come to us for exactly what they want, we've got to build up on creating that experience as well. And then I want to say, when we're talking about follow up, instead of just following up and saying, hi, do you want to order anything from the catalog? Hi, the special's ending on the 31st. Follow up as an experience. Sometimes we need to start sharing content as an experience and rather than in a follow up for a sale. Sometimes you can share a tip. We've got beautiful tips on our honey wellness products. We've got beautiful tips on our website in terms of each product line, what makes our handbags unique, what makes our accessories unique. Sometimes all we need to do to follow up with someone is create more awareness about our brand. There is a reason that McDonald's still to this day has got one of the biggest advertising budgets in the world. It's because they're now fighting to be top of mind. In the beginning, they were fighting to establish a brand and so that everybody knew McDonald's, and great, they got it. But now they've got to fight to stay top of mind because guess what? Right next to McDonald's is Steers. Right next to Steers is KFC. So if they're not constantly in people's faces, they're leaving the market open to other choices. And the same thing goes for us as well. How are we creating that experience? Are we following up? It's one of the best follow-ups I used to do was always send to a client and say, I haven't seen you wear your item yet. I'd love to see a picture. Because again, you're building that interest into what that person purchased it for and creating the story and building that trust as well. And then I want to say the most powerful social media right now is in the storytelling that you're doing. Again, when you look at everything that is transpiring in terms of technology and AI and all those scary things, the most important thing for anybody to be right now is their authentic self. Again, I want to say to you, somebody who's great at posting who she is, what she does with her business and wearing her product. We all know her. We all appreciate what she does because we all get to use her pictures, is Carrie Lee. Is her social media, is her storytelling. Now, that's not the only way to do it, and that's the way that she does it. But what she always does is tells a story. What does it mean? It means that you're giving people something deeper to connect to. If they don't see a product they like immediately, they may not find a reason to stay with you. So tell stories. Tell stories about what your business has done. Tell stories about how important your business is. Not only on the recruitment side. Sometimes our stories are not to just inspire people to join us. They're there to show people that we believe in our businesses, that we value our businesses, and that we should be considered as business owners. When we share our stories, we're also sharing other people's moments. We're elevating the people around us, and we're giving other people the chance to be featured and appreciated. And in a world that is so fast-paced, we are actually dying for connection. Human beings were never meant to operate in such levels of isolation. So whatever we can do to connect people is going to be where our strengths are as well. Something as simple as behind the scenes. I was so dedicated at doing it. I would never leave the house unless I posted a selfie. And yes, my mom would always say, you have to do a selfie. Do you have? Yes, because it was my products and it was my brand. And slowly but surely, people got knowing me for that. And whatever way you do it, it doesn't matter. The most important thing is whatever story you're telling and whatever you want people to know, they can see it when they look at your business. They can see it how you show up for your product, for your team, for your recruitments. You've got to be all in and lead from the front when it comes to sales. There is no such thing as a salesperson that's ever sat in the office, sent other people out and got rich. They're in it. They've got skin in the game. They know what they want and they show what they want. They actually show up and do it. And then again, you can create some awesome customer campaigns as well. Is maybe that little personalized card that you give to your customer when you deliver is a little card that says, we feature our valued clients in our weekly Honey Mag. We'd love to feature you as well. Send me a picture of you in your brand new purchase, and we'll tag you on social media. You'll be surprised how many people would like just to be featured like that. How many people would be considered to be on a social media page that's got over X amount of followers. It's little things like that that are simple enough to do. We need to just build onto them consistently and ask ourselves, how is this going to help me generate sales? Okay, so when we're talking about the tools and tips of this section, we're talking about the 3 C's of a sales flow. Number one is connect. We've spoken about it. That means you are building rapport with someone, you're building that trust factor. You're offering investments before you are asking for anything. Number two is care. We spoke about, sorry, unreasonable hospitality. And if you care enough about a client will show you how much they care about you. When you can match the right product to someone, it means you've taken the time to understand who they are, what they like, and why you can add value to their life as well. And then, of course, that follow up that I keep speaking about, the close, is by the time you get to closing your sale, when you've built enough trust, when you found the right product for the person, it's no longer about are you ordering or the cutoff is at this time. It's more about, okay, I'm placing the order now. Your total is you can pay me here. And that's what sales is about. Sales is never meant to be a grapple in the beginning where you're fighting for people and nagging for things. It's a flow. That's what they call it, a sales flow, where if you do the right amount of building trust, of taking care, by the time it comes to closing your sale, it's not about fighting for the close. It's more about literally just closing it and saying, thank you so much for your business. This is your final amount, and the customer paying over and the rest of the process taking place. It can be that easy. It can be that easy when you implement process and when you take the time to lead the sales journey in this manner. And again, I want to say, I'm taking the leaders through this first because you need to start asking yourself where you can show up better in your personal attributes as a salesperson. You cannot teach people something that you don't know. And so, in order for us to get better sales consultants, we need to show up as better sales leaders. We need to be able to take information like this and show our consultants day in and day out many, many different avenues, different ways to bring their products back to life, to bring their business back into focus with their clients, and to show them why they joined this business. And then, of course, we have got our Honey Product Stories library. So I want to say to you, we should never stop learning or refreshing our brains as well. When it comes to sales, it's really about understanding our products. And we have updated the websites. On the websites, under the business opportunity section, we've posted video tutorials there that speak specifically to our product types. And I want to say to you, if videos are not your thing, and if you don't want to record yourself talking to your team, there's nothing wrong with you going through that video training and picking up the top 3 points and making that your tip for a Tuesday. When I talk about the initiator and when I talk about the value you need to add into your business, that's the type of thinking I want you to get into. Is not what is being sent out by head office and am I just following along? What's being sent out by head office is a buffer. It's about you looking at your team and saying, okay, my team all say that they're asking people for orders, but they're not getting orders. So what problem am I identifying here? Okay, maybe it's in how they are selling. So let me teach them how to sell. Maybe they don't understand the portal. Let me teach them the portal. But unless you're going back and giving them information, you can't grow anybody's knowledge. You can't grow anything for them unless you're making it a focus point. So again, let's get off of autopilot when it comes to, please excuse me for 2 seconds. Frog in my throat needed lemon water. Sorry. Let's get off of autopilot and wait to be guided by what the promotion tablets does or doesn't say. And let's build a culture within our team where we know what we're going to push for, what our Tuesday tip looks like in our business, what we want to focus on in a month. Go back every month. We've discussed this at length. We've discussed everything from planning your month, knowing your numbers, having a theme, organized office. We've done it all. It's now to build that and start implementing it consistently so that it forms the culture and the basics of our business. There's so many resources available to you. Don't wait for things. Go out and create a training tip. Even if you voice note it and say, guys, on the website today, I clicked on this video. It was 7 minutes long. These are the 3 tips that I took away from it. Here's the link if you want to read any further, but I strongly suggest you know these 3 tips when it comes to your honey handbags. It's that simple. We cannot bring the consultants to the library, so let's take the library back to them. And how can you do it consistently? That's going to be focused on generating sales as well. Okay, I'm not going to go through that one. Strategies behind it. I've spoken about using social media storytelling instead of sales pitches. Again, there are so many of our honeys that do it so well. Another lady that does it well is Pearl. Pearl always has got such strong, passionate posts for recruitment as well. It always talks about the purpose of the business in her life, but she always shows how it shows up for other people. And I think that is knowing the audience that you are speaking to. Storytelling is not just about creating a crazy story. It's about being relatable to the people that you actually want to influence as well. When you're talking about strategy and talking about storytelling and talking about how do I position my business, do I speak about the products? Do I speak about what do I do? As I've gone through the steps and the stages, follow the 70-30 rule. If you are engaging with someone, make sure that 70% of your engagement is value content. It's not just the catalog. It's not just the promotion. It is the promotion plus a message. It is the catalog plus a call to action or a something fun. And 30% of it is product promotion. Let's start chatting to our clients more on tips and tricks and the accessories industry and what's new in fashion and what's the shade. And let's start building community around experience and not just about product. And then, of course, create a customer care calendar. Make sure any salesperson with an empty diary is never going to be successful. And we need to get into filling our diaries with follow-ups. So the follow-ups in terms of, you placed an order last month. I wanted to see if you were absolutely happy with your purchase and if you had a picture for the honey mag. Or checking in to see how your collagen supply is doing. We're coming up to month end. Let me know if I can secure the next one for you. These are all simple things that unless we implement in our own personal sales strategy, we can't really show our teams how and when and why to do it either. So that brings me to the end of today's session. It was more focused on your experience, and I wanted you to take that into account ahead of month end. This is the 22nd still? Yeah, 22nd of September. We've got a few more days left of month end. And if there's anything for you to take away from the session, it's to understand where you can immediately go and start creating experience. Some of that experience can be created with your team. Some of that experience is with customers you have not reached out to yet for the month of September. And don't let that be the reason that you miss your sales target because you haven't engaged or created experience. You've been around for long enough. You know your story, you know your product, you know your value. Who are you going to speak to about it and how are you going to do it? I wanted to take this opportunity before we close off just to remind you of the recruitment incentive that we launched at Honey Heart. It runs from the beginning of the month to the end of the month, and we have put together a cash prize for the top 3 honeys for the recruits for the month of September. So the T's and C's are that the top 3 have to have a minimum of 5 new recruits in order to qualify. And the recruits has to have a registered order of 500 Rand in the month of September in order to be counted towards this incentive. So again, if you look at it, it's not only about bringing people in, it's about bringing people in and getting them to place their first order. Once someone has seen how simple it is to order and get their product, that's where you build onto recruitments. So that's what we've got up for grabs for the month of September. And then again, we went through the travel incentive. We are in our second month of the financial year. And I want to remind you that although 1.2 million Rand sales looks hugely scary, especially if you're not where you're operating where you are, or sorry, where you want to be, just understand that that is a goal at the end and that the business formula, the most successful business formula is to break down your plan into the smallest nuggets possible. And you do this by focusing on how many active consultants you've got and the average unit price. If you can get every person in your business to place one item of 250 Rand in a month, it's about showing them what it means to them and having all of those little bits add up. And that's what we need to get back into. So whether you do it on 25 active consultants or whether you're tracking for 40 active consultants, know how many people you have in your business, who you can rely on, who you can challenge for 1 order, who you can challenge for 10, and let's start getting back into creating those experiences for everybody, whether that is a new consultant, an existing consultant, but most specifically after tonight's session, a valued client as well. So in closing, sales fuels your income. We all know that. If we want better income, we have to have better sales. And so now we have covered 2 of this 3-part series. Number 1 was your network and really understanding who is in your network and how they're going to get you to where you need to be. And number 2 was, now that you know who's in your network, what type of conversations are you creating? What type of experiences are you creating? And where can you go back to the drawing board to go back to that business that shows it cares, that shows it closes, and that makes those sales and turns its income around. The next session will probably take place in October. I will open it up for everybody else, but I thought, again, ahead of our month end this month or this coming week or just early next week, I can't keep up with the days or the years or the times. I thought that we could all focus a little bit on sales. So I think I see Corné, and I think I can ask her to unmute. I didn't see you before, so I didn't keep you quiet on purpose. Just want to clarify that. But from my side, I will hand over to Queen Bee, Mother Bee, Hen Bee, Mama Bear and say, love you all. Thank you for your time tonight. And if you've got any questions, remember I'm here to support you. All the best with month-end sales. That's it.
Thank you, Taryn. Yeah, I must say that I think your session is so on point. And I think if there's one thing that jumped out for me was that follow-up. I think if we understand how much lies in that follow-up, it's really so important. I always say this I've said it so many times. I would be your typical client that you have to ask and ask and ask. And not really, it's not about begging for an order. It's really just about reminding me that I needed to pay for it or whatever. I was still interested. I'm really interested. And I think straight off the bat, when I think about getting to know my new clients, I might actually think that one should ask a client, you know what, how much should I nag you? Because I'll tell you right now, you do need to nag me. I will tell you if I don't want to do business with you, but if I said I want to do business with you, you should nag me because I can sometimes take 3 days to pay. So I think, again, those client cards that we created, are they being used? And I think maybe what we should do is, I know you can download them on the website, but what I would like to do is I will just post them in the morning back onto the group because it's a tool. And I think it's, again, a tool that is underutilized because I don't know about you, but my mind does not remember, but it works off of tools. And I think if we spend the time and we create these tools, they become a system. And I think when you talked about, how do you sell, I really actually hear inside, what is the system in which you secure an order? And in that system is a lot of tools. So thank you again for the session. It really triggered a lot of memories, I think, on what one should do. And one should sometimes just be reminded on what to do. What can I tell you, because you're at the meeting? Okay, so I have convinced, because sometimes I am the boss, I have convinced them to move our night market from Thursday up to tomorrow.
Yay.
We will launch night market like in the afternoon. So you might have your images being called night market, but just like normal, I've created chaos, and I say to them, everybody wants to go maybe on like quickly visit their mom or travel a little bit on Tuesday in the afternoon to utilize the public holiday. So we're going to post night markets here by the afternoon, by about 2:00. And we will then drive those sales for month end. I think after that, also remember follow up. Every open order is an opportunity to follow up. Every client is an opportunity to put yourself under their nose, and then to get in that extra pair of shoes or that additional handbag of what they purchased last month. So let's drive those orders diligently, because every unit counts. That's all from me for now.
Awesome. Thank you, Corne. Thank you, everybody, for your time and your participation. We'll chat to you again tomorrow on the WhatsApp group. But
Yes.
other than that, sleep tight, have a good night, have lots of honey dreams, and we'll check you in the morning. Bye.